Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I'm Valerio Leo, a ready-to-use developer, and today I'm going to present to you the CMDBuild Ready-to-Use Asset Lifecycle and Asset Management. So in the last webinars we covered the overview and configuration management topic, the service desk and self-service portal. Today we're going to cover the asset lifecycle and asset management. In the near future, we plan to cover the data reconciliation, special sessions, KPI, data quality, and Slack configuration. In today's webinar, we're going to cover the goods reception from purchase orders and setup of different forms to generate different asset types, the management of all phases of the asset lifecycle using the asset management workflow, the license management, the QR code and barcode print capabilities, and last, the warranty expiry management. The IT asset lifecycle management is used to register and order issues, to accept and entry of goods, assignment and withdrawal of goods, and their replacement. It is also used to transfer assets between users, to aid the hardware manager to transfer assets due to change of user location, or to transfer the assets between warehouses. Also to scrape the assets. So the typical flow of this asset lifecycle is you have an order, you can receive all the assets all together, or you can create multiple order rows. You create when you receive the assets, you can using the asset lifecycle management workflow, you can create the assets which are going to be put in the warehouses. These are the possible asset statuses while they're in the warehouse. So in the beginning, as we are going to see in the demo, that the asset, newly created asset, can go into testing status, or it can be available, so we can directly assign it to a user or use it somewhere else. We also have a mobile app which helps the hardware managers to register the assets, or to move them, or to use any action that the asset management workflow allows. The newly introduced app has CMDBuild basic functionalities. It allows the user to manage the data cards, and also to use the workflows present in CMDBuild. It has the ability to take photographs and store them in CMDBuild as attached documents. For example, in the asset acceptance or assignment, they can take a photo of the asset, and it will be attached to the current asset management instance. It also has the possibility to read the QR code of the asset. For example, in this case, you would need to press the QR code icon, and at this point you will be able to scan the asset's QR code, which we will see in the demo, how it is generated and viewed. So, okay, let's start. So here, let's imagine that we're a hardware manager and we received an order. So we are going to start a asset management process, and we will select a goods received type. At this point, we can continue to register the delivery, or we can close the process if we opened it by mistake. We would need to choose the supplier from which the order came. We would need to choose the order, and then we execute. Here we need to select which order rows we want to use. In this case, we don't have any order rows for this this supplier and this order. Let's try with the next one. Okay. So here we can see that there are two order rows for two monitors, and here you can see the delivered quantity, the quantity of assets present in the order row, and we will choose a delivery quantity of, let's say, we received two monitors, so we will choose, we will write down 2 in this section, in the delivery quantity. Let's close this order row, this pop-up, sorry, and execute. At this point, the asset management process warns us that we do not have a defined form for this asset type. We can go and define one asset form using the AM form configuration custom page, or we can use the default form for this asset type. Let's use the default form for the asset type in this case. Later on, I will show you how you can create a custom form for the asset type. For the asset type you need. At this point, we would select which destination warehouse we want to put our assets in. Let's say we want to put them in the room number 4. And we can choose if the asset should go in the acceptance status or available. For now, we will go on and choose the acceptance status. Here in the Edit Delivery Assets widget, we can edit our assets that are going to be created. You can also edit a row by using this button, where you can see all the attributes and their values. As we can see, the code and hostname is mandatory, so we are going to compile them. 01 hostname. Let's also put a serial number. As you can see, the room and the supplier were automatically compiled, as well as the order and order row. Let's go on and save it. You can also compile this data directly from the grid. Monitor 02. Let's go on and close this pop-up and execute the process. At this point, our assets were created and we can inspect them by clicking on the New Asset button. In this grid, you can open the assets again to check them more in depth. And you can also edit the data if we didn't do anything correctly or if we want to change something. Let's go on and close these pop-ups and execute the process. At this point, we can choose to print the barcode and QR code of the assets that we have just created. Here are the barcodes, and then on the next page we can see the QR codes that you can use to scan using the mobile app that I showed during the presentation. These dimensions, the dimensions of the barcodes can be adapted to work on any printer in order to be able to print these labels and attach them to the assets. Okay, at this point we finished the goods receipt asset management type. And now let's imagine that we want to accept or not the assets that we just received. Let's go on and choose the acceptance type and execute. In this section, we need to choose the warehouse of origin of the assets. Let's go on and choose the number 4, where we want to put the assets after we accept them. Let's say we want to move them to warehouse number 5, and the planned date. After that, we need to choose the hardware to test. Here we can choose our monitors. For now, I'm going to accept just one, the first one. Let's go on and execute the... Before that, you can need to tell you that you can upload any attachments that you want, for example, an image of the asset. Also using the mobile app, like I explained earlier. Let's go on and execute the process. Okay, at this point, the hardware manager needs to accept or cancel the acceptance of the hardware. So in this section, we can check the hardware that needs to be tested. Here we can see our monitor. We can also print the movement summary. And we can also upload the attachments like I showed before. Let's go on and confirm this acceptance, this asset acceptance. Okay, we've accepted the asset and now it should be available to assign to some user. Let's pretend that we want to assign the newly accepted asset to some user. Okay, in this section, again, we need to choose the warehouse from which we want to take the asset. We moved it to warehouse number 5, so it should be in there. We need to choose the room in which we want to put the new asset. Let's say we want to put it in the room number 1. We need to select the user that we're going to assign the hardware. Let's choose Colin Conrad. And we also need to choose the planned date that we want to assign the asset. Let's say it's going to be today. Here we can choose it whether to send the user an email or not, a notification email. Or we can choose to we can choose the acceptance required in order to let the user accept the asset before we can proceed. Let's choose this option so I can show you how the user will accept the assignment using our portal. So next we need to choose the hardware to assign. So here we see the available hardware, among which is our printer that we created earlier. And it is also filtered by the room, that by the warehouse that we chose here. If we cannot find our hardware, whether because it is not in the correct state or we did not choose the correct warehouse, we can disable the filter and manually search for our asset. So we chose our printer right here, and let's go on and assign it to the wanted user. Okay, at this point, the user received an email saying that he is asked to accept this asset. Let's go on and see what the user would see. By clicking on this link, the user will be taken to the portal where he can go into the asset acceptance. And in here you can see that he needs to accept one asset. Let's go on and accept this asset. He can write some comments. You can print the movement summary from this section. Okay. And he can choose to accept or reject the current request. Let's go on and accept it. So we can see that the request has been sent successfully. Let's press OK and go back to CMDBuild and check. Let's refresh. And let's check what the hardware manager would see. So here we see that the asset was accepted by the user. We can also see his comment that he wrote. We can also check the selected asset. Here is the monitor that we assigned. We can upload attachments, print the movement summary from here as well. And once we deliver the asset, we can confirm this assignment execution and execute the process. Okay, at this point we can withdraw the asset from the user. For example, if it doesn't work correctly or it has any problem. So we would choose in here the user that we want to withdraw the asset from. We're going to choose our monitor again that we just assigned to the user. Here it is, monitor number 1. At this point we will choose the destination warehouse. Let's put it in the warehouse number 6 this time. and the destination asset status, we put it in maintenance, because we're going to pretend that the asset doesn't work as expected. We're going to choose the today date as planned date. Here we can check the user data that we just selected. We can see the currently assigned hardware to the user if we need to, and we can also upload an attachment if we need so. Let's go on and execute this process. This time we are not going to choose the acceptance required, so the user will not need to accept or reject this request. He will just receive an email if we want so. If we do not want the user to receive a notification, we can choose it here. Let's send the user a notification. Let's go on and execute this process. Okay, so the user has received an email, a ticket, a notification saying that the hardware manage the operation withdrawal operation is planned for this date. Once we withdraw the hardware and put it in the destination warehouse, we can confirm and execute the process. Okay, so the next types are the replacement, which is the combination of the assignment and withdrawal. Transfer between users changes the assignee of the hardware. Transfer between warehouses, we move the asset from a warehouse to another. Next on, move user is useful. It's useful when you need to move all the users' hardware to another room, so you do not have to do it manually. Also to avoid some mistakes. So let's select our user, holding Conrad again. Let's select the room in which we want to move all the hardware and the planned date. Here we can see all the hardware that would be moved if we executed this process. And here the technician can also write some notes. As before, you can check the user data using this button. And also we can upload an attachment if we want so. Let's go on and check the other types. The disposal type is used to dispose of an asset. And the maintenance return is used to return an asset from the maintenance as the type suggests. Let's go on and see the consumable received type. This type is used to receive consumables like USB cables and so on. So in this window, we need to choose the quantity of consumables that we received. Let's say we received 25. You need to choose the supplier. Let's say it came from Amazon. In this case, the order was automatically filled in because it is the only one available for this supplier. Let's go on and choose the current order row. So we are going to receive, let's say, some Apple Lightning cables USB. We are going to put them into room number 4, and we will write some movement description. This in this section we can check the currently available consumables right here, the quantity that we have and the available quantity, the quantity that we received and the available quantity that we can use. Here we can choose other insert if we need to receive another order of consumables of the same supplier order and so on. So we do not have to open this the asset management again. Let's go on and execute this process. Okay, so at this point we should see that we received 25 consumables. Here they are, the Apple Lightning cable. We can see that we received 25 cables, and there are 25 available. Okay, so at this point I'm going to show you the reports regarding the asset management and the asset lifecycle. So the stock availability shows you, let's choose the current year, 2021. It shows you the current situation up here, the available quantity of consumables, the ordered quantity of consumables, and the delivered quantity. Also for notebooks, printers, or other types, if we would have any. You can also see the assets history. Let's go on whether by choosing it from the report, or you can also go to the asset. Let's choose the monitor we created. Okay, here it is. Here we can click the asset history widget directly on the asset, and we can see the asset history. So here is the current situation, which room it is located in, what status it has. Here we can see all the movements it had in the past. As I mentioned before, you can select a custom form for the goods received asset management type using the AM form configuration custom page. So here we would need to select the class. For example, in our case, it is a monitor. Let's go and choose a monitor. At this point, we can choose to select, we can choose which attributes we want to be visible in the form, whether they are mandatory or not, or if we want them to be editable or not. Next on, we are going to see the expiring warranties. This is a view that shows the assets that which warranty is going to expire. For example, in 1 day. Here we have 2 assets that are going to expire in 1 day. You can also configure how many days in advance to show the assets. by going into the parameter configuration custom page. Here we have the number of warranty expiring days to show the assets in advance. So here we have defined 10 days. And in this view, we would see the assets that are expiring in all the assets that are expiring in 10 days. Let's go on and see the software licenses. Here we can see the software licenses that we have in stock. Also the available software licenses. Let's go on and create a software instance and see how this view changes. Let's pretend that we need to create some Office 365 some assets that use the Office 365 suite. We can go here in the details. Here we would see the client softwares that use this license. Here we can see that there are 24 items. Let's go on and create one more. We are going to clone this current card and change the device to some desktop. Or some notebook. Let's choose this one. So we are going to choose the Office 365 license. Let's go on and save it. So at this point we see that there is one less available serial number for this license. Okay, so at this point we finished the presentation. Don't forget to visit us on our website and subscribe to our newsletter. Follow us on Twitter. If you have any questions, you can write to us in the forum, or for any other information, you can write to sales@technoteca.com. See you at the next webinar. Bye bye.